providing talk, trying to push against these US giants, the Metas, the Amazons, about their commitment to AI infrastructure.
Yeah, it's interesting comments from Joe Tsai. As you mentioned, he's chairman of Alibaba. He's been through this for many, many years. He got his start in the dot-com bubble, so he's seen some of these bubbles in the past, and he's calling it out. He was at this conference in Hong Kong talking with investors and tech executives at that point, and he said he's concerned about this AI bubble forming, particularly around data centers. We have seen incredible amounts of money getting poured into these data centers, especially from the U.S. tech companies. Amazon and Microsoft and Google all are pouring tens of billions of dollars into these data centers. Of course, you'll recall that OpenAI and SoftBank talked about spending $500 billion on data centers in the U.S. So they're really kind of crazy numbers. Alibaba has not been shy about making these investments. In fact, they plan to spend more than $50 billion. But the numbers are starting to add up. And the question is whether those are going to pay off with some profitable services down the line.
And it speaks to investor anxiety over the last few months that we're just putting too much money in, not getting enough reward out. In fact, Mizuho analysis coming out today, I always love the notes coming over from Jordan Klein. He pointed to perhaps these are sort of these pot shots being fired over at NVIDIA and US giants by China tech internet leaders. And he said it's kind of funny that just straight after GTC, we're getting these negative shots against NVIDIA and the entire AI investment narrative that generally centers around 100% on US suppliers. Is there a theme that this is almost geopolitical, that this is China fighting back against US and how US has basically ridden the wave of AI more than them so far?
Well, I think it's important to look at the China tech industry, China business more broadly, not as a monolith. These are individual companies making individual choices. But when you look at how they add up, there have been more than 10 AI models introduced just over the past 2 weeks. They're coming out fast and furious after DeepSeek. And you're exactly right. They are positioning themselves as quite different from the U.S. models. They're lower cost. They're much more efficient in a lot of ways, and they're not spending the same amount of money. Part of that is because of U.S. restrictions. The U.S. has stopped them from buying the highest end NVIDIA chips in particular. So rather than spend tens of billions of dollars on some of these efforts, they're spending much more, and they're using a lot of engineering expertise to be able to come out with models that are very competent, that are competitive globally, and they're innovative in a lot of ways. So they're going at a different part of the market, and they could be bringing down profits overall for the whole market.